Hello there, this is Ron Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Addicted to Mr. Goodbar. Yeah, this is about a phenomenon that many men know about it. Many men know about it. I think they use the term alpha widows. And those are those women who basically got turned out or imprinted by an alpha male, quote unquote alpha male. Y'all know how I feel about that term, but I'll use it for reference in this video. Basically, what you have is you have these women. Their first experiences or early experiences were with the bad boys, the players, the dudes they think are the sexiest. Okay, fine. And what happens in many cases is once women go through that, or what some people call the cock carousel, they'll find that quote unquote beta to settle down with the nice guy and all of that. But, and this is coming from the angle I look at it at, because I didn't come up in that manosphere and stuff. In fact, even to this day, I'm still translating stuff that I already knew to how people in the overall manosphere might talk about it. It's like, oh, okay, that's what y'all mean. That's usually how I'm doing a lot of times. But what I'm talking about, that whole thing, addicted to Mr. Goodbar, or what I used to call Goodbar chasers. Those women, because you get some women, they get turned out by Mr. Goodbar, and they quite frankly will keep chasing him the rest of their lives. They never do that whole beta bucks thing. They will spend the rest of their lives going from one good bar to the other. And it is truly an addiction, because you do have like actual chemicals like oxytocin that are being released that will bond them to like these men. And it's an addiction because it's a love. It's an intoxication. It's a feel good. It's a drug, and many women get intoxicated by that. See, one of the things is not all women get addicted, for the simple reason all women's first experience was not necessarily with a good bar. That's one fallacy that's out there. Like, all the alphas or good bars are only ones deflowering some of these women. Well, all these women just, they'll get with a guy who might be a quote unquote beta, just in a regular relationship, and that's their first one. And it's a lot more than people realize, because good bar types ain't fucking everybody, y'all. So one, because they picky as well, I ain't gonna say they picky as hell. That's more the successful man type. But, if they got a choice between like that average looking girl in high school or the head cheerleader, they're gonna nail the cheerleader. So only certain women gonna be in there. And what'll happen with these women, they will be going from good bar to good bar chasing that high. And I've actually seen this happen. I've seen this happen in several social circles. You get one woman, she get with that, that star athlete or the popular dude, and then the next dude, same thing. Next dude, same thing. I've seen this happen so many times, and they are literally addicted, because here's the thing, they looking for that high. They looking for that feeling. They looking for the release of those hormones. And they only gonna look for the men who can provide that high. In fact, I'm gonna be honest. What many of those women might need to get in a relationship, or like a functional relationship, they might need a type of drug rehab, because that's what it is. It's a drug. And it's actually something I talked about in my book, A Player's Eyes. I call it that drug called pleasure. Check it out if you get a chance. But they will go from that man to that man. And here's the thing. Even if that woman marries a beta for whatever reason, she still gotta get that hit. I remember anybody who's followed me a long time, like, I'm known for having the jazz intros and stuff and jazz playing in the background. But for a long time, my intro song was a song by this group called Keys of Knowledge called Pusherman. And, only played 15 seconds, but the song was basically about a woman being turned out by this guy. And, you know, you know how that heroin addict tap their arm and stuff. This woman in the song says she tap her thighs. And that's why I used that song for a long time because, Mr. Goodbar in many cases, he's like a drug dealer. He give her a little, he give her a little sample, just enough to get her hooked. And then, he got her. She turning tricks and stuff, try to get that hit. And like I said, sometimes these women they still will marry a beta. Depending on the community they in. Like if it's that like quote unquote church girl, and on the real, we know those church girls how they get down, especially some of those preachers' kids. But if it's a quote unquote church girl, or rather good girl, shoot, yeah, sometimes they'll marry that good guy. I actually knew a woman, and I gotta watch what I say about this one, cause well, I better not say why, but um, she was actually with a good church guy, but she was still writing letters to this this jailbird dude, this drug dealer who had been in prison, and she was saying how she didn't even she wasn't even feeling that church guy she was with. She wasn't even wanting to kiss him. She still hooked on that guy in prison, and that's a very real thing. That's a very real thing. And see, a lot of men, they find that shit out the hard way. They find out she's still addicted because that's that woman. She'll have pedestrian sex with the beta if she even gets with him. But then she'll have that dude on the side nobody know about whose sole purpose is to turn her out. And in fact, there's a lot of even I would call them secret societies of women who that's all they do, and they keep it to themselves. Might even have parties, swinger type parties with that shit. But they're addicted. Understand that, and understand one thing, a man, when you encounter these type of women, first of all, you gotta pay attention. Pay attention. Don't be afraid to ask about her past. And don't be afraid to pay attention to the type of men that she might crane her neck. Women are usually slick about it, but if you start learning how to pay attention and really keep your emotions out of it, you'll see the type of guys. Like if you meet some woman and all she dated was dudes who was 6'5" and muscular, and she said I was in a relationship with this, in a relationship with that. You probably dealing with a good bar chaser, or a woman who's like somehow dated a lot of basketball players. I knew a sister, and actually I need to catch up with her crazy ass. But she had dated, like, she was naming some names. She had dated several celebrities and stuff. That dude she ended up marrying was not satisfied. Cause I mean, when I say celebrities, if I drop the name she named, y'all be like, oh shit, she used to mess with him, and him too. And her husband couldn't keep up. I looked at him after knowing. I say, nah, yeah, she addicted to that. She addicted to that good bar, bro. You just not there. I'm surprised she married you. But many women are. Now, let me just be clear with that. All women aren't addicted, because all women weren't imprinted by a good bar. That's just how it is. I would say. Honestly, they might have been imprinted by regular guys, and those women are actually the easiest to deal with, because then you can, they ain't asking for anything too crazy, and they can also make a more rational decision about stuff. But you get those good bar chasers, those women addicted, and I talked a lot about the ones who might still marry a beta, but most of them ain't. Most of them gonna go back They're gonna keep going. In fact, that's why you see some women in their 40s and even 50s never been married. But if you get an idea of the men they dated, good bars, and they're gonna keep that up. And any man who's not in that group, who can't bring her, who can, give her the product, don't even worry about it. So, something to think about. Something to think about. As far as what to do about it, leave them alone. Like I said, all women weren't like that. Just start searching for those women who don't show signs of that addiction. And like I said, the best sign is the type. If you can get an idea about the type of man she dated, like in all honesty, because I know some men and women especially like to promote the, don't ask about the past. Um, in some cases, you need to get some idea. Don't be afraid to like look at a picture or something and just like wonder, seriously, because that's going to tell you really the real potential of your relationship. Now, the only men who don't have to worry about that is men who are consistently in the good bar category, but that's um that's a different different vibration right there anyway. So anyway, that's it for today. Talk to y'all later. Peace.